Welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to discuss the issues with the franchise mode in MLB The Show 25. Across the game, there was a host of new updates and features added to this year's game, but I felt like most were geared towards Road to the Show or Diamond Dynasty, while franchise was left out in the cold. So I will give you my breakdown of the mode and what my recommendation is before the full release tomorrow. So let's go ahead and get into it. In reviewing the game, I do want to point out the good things that the game does this time around. While we all want perfection in games that cost a pretty penny, it is often not feasible for that year in and year out cycle. So here are the good things that MLB The Show 25 does this time around. The first will obviously be the only thing that the mode really got updated this year, and that would be the off-season free agency. This is very refreshing and adds a bit of give and take to the mode this year. No longer can I sign the top three free agents year after year and stay well below my budget as a bottom feeder team. I now have pretty stiff competition like we see in real life, and from my experience, there are a ton of players that I just can't sign due to their desire to play for a winning team or to play for top dollar. The next thing that they improved upon this cycle was the inclusion of more top prospects throughout the minors. Last year, I felt as though there were a ton of top prospects missing that many fans would have loved to see. While there are still minor holes in the lineup of players, it has improved significantly. Lastly, the player progression seems to have been revised for the better this year. In some of my initial testing, I noticed there are some more regression for players when they get to the tail end of their career. I have yet to notice that any 45-plus-year-old Cy Young candidates like we could see in years past. I will preface my testing was limited and I may have overlooked players, but the initial results do look very good. Let me know in the comments if you have any weird or odd regression issues that you've seen in your franchise runs. But before we get into the cons part of this review, if you are enjoying today's video, be sure to subscribe before you go. We will be releasing a ton of MLB The Show 25 content over the next few months, and I would love to see you all in the community. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and let's get back to the review. Now for the bad part of the review. While I have been very optimistic about this game as a whole, and a lot of the new features they have added do work exceptionally well and look very fun and are fun to play, the franchise mode does feel like last season's mode 90% of the time. Some of the more notable changes that were left untouched were things like an improved training interface, trade logic, and how limited the player count is during your trades, the complete ignorance of limits of the draft with pick placement year over year, and lastly, by my standard, the biggest miss, no international free agency market. While these four things are not the only thing missing or stagnant, I do think these could have been implemented this year. Especially with no major graphical updates, it feels like the offline modes are pretty barren. Even with the new college and high school gameplay, it takes about 30 minutes to breeze through that since it's only a total of 7 games. While I will still play the mode from a content perspective, I just can't really see myself diving deep into it this season since there are limited changes to the day-to-day things you do around each season. So all in all, after running through multiple simulations and a pretty broad playthrough to test the new things out, I would give the franchise modes a 3 out of 10 this year. I also would not recommend you to buy this game if you are wanting to only play it for the franchise mode alone. If you are an online or a mixed mode player like myself, then I would say the franchise mode is serviceable enough for you to get to 1 to 3 playthroughs to give yourself a change of scenery every now and again. So I do hope this video was helpful for those who are on the fence about buying this for this mode. If you would like me to review the game as a whole, let me know in the comments below. Again, I appreciate y'all tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one. And a huge shout out to Chris, our very first premium channel member. Thanks for all your support, man. It's really appreciated.